Yo, welcome back everybody. I hope you guys are doing well as always. On one of my previous videos, somebody left a comment asking me to make sort of like a old Ken Carson melodic type of beat. So that's what I made for today's video, and I'm just gonna break it down for you guys. In this video, I got to use Sunboy and Cray's new Hiraeth Serum bank. They had sent it over for me to use, and it honestly fit perfectly for what I was trying to go for this video. So if at any point in the video you guys like the sounds you're hearing in this Serum bank, feel free to check out the link in the description below. If you guys follow the channel, then you know that I use a lot of Sunboy's kits already. They're super good kits, they're super high quality, and you can really use them for like any kind of genre. Also, by the time you guys see this video, my 2025 stash kit will be out. I will also leave a link to that in the description below. A lot of people have been asking me to drop that over the past like month or so. I've been using it in pretty much every one of these videos. But yeah, it's finally out. The link is in the description below. It's over on my website, the Kit Warehouse. I also use those drum sounds in this beat. So again, if you hear something that you like, go check out that kit. The kit will be on sale for 50% off. Starting at 1 p.m. CST on 9/7. So that should be when this video is dropping. But yeah, the sale will end on Monday, September 8th at 1 p.m. Central Time. All right, so with all that out of the way, this is how to make old melodic beats for Ken Carson. All right, so we're over in FL and I'm at 138 BPM for this beat. For this beat, I took a lot of inspiration from High as Shit by Ken Carson. That's like one of my favorite melodies in this like kind of older melodic style that he did. I actually ended up using a pretty similar chord progression to that song. I just ended up kind of making my own sort of top line pattern. But this is the first MIDI we got, and we're using Serum. Like I said before, this is from the Hiraeth Serum bank by Sunboy and Cray. And this is the key nostalgia preset. So super classic, just like virtual melodic style of a MIDI pattern. A lot of people say it's similar to like the X8 style, which I would honestly agree with. It just has that sort of like nostalgic tone to it. Second sound we got is to just accent this little like 4-note step up. You hear this in like a lot of Ken Carson songs. Like this pattern was kind of deemed the Ken Carson lead for a long time, or like the Ken Carson pluck, whatever you want to call it. But anytime you heard this pattern, it was like, oh, that's from a Ken Carson song, or like that's trying to imitate a Ken song. On this MIDI, we got the preset Pluck Long Gone, again from that Hiraeth Serum bank. Next up, we got another sort of like lead pattern, and this one is using the preset Exotica in the synth category. I like this one because it almost sounds like a digital like organ or something. Then next we got another little lead to kind of fill in the gap. The big takeaways for making these kinds of melodies is to do a lot of call and response. And if you guys are unfamiliar with what call and response actually is, it's basically when you have pattern A and then a pattern B, and pattern B is kind of reacting to whatever pattern A did. So in this case, we had the previous sound that I just showed where it plays those 4 notes stepping up, then that pattern ends and then it introduces a new pattern, and it kind of like stepped up into that new pattern. So that's where you get the call and the response. That technique is really pleasing to listeners' ears, so it's honestly a good technique to use in any production. So I'll play these two, actually these three together, and you can kind of see how they all sort of interact with each other. So even just by visually looking at it, you can see that each pattern kind of has its own little pocket that plays in between the other patterns. Then we got another key that I just layered with the original MIDI, and this is the pretty key. And then last, we just got the classic Ken Carson bass. This is not from the Serum bank. It's actually just a one-shot. You can find this in like a lot of the older like Teen X era type of one-shot kits. I think this one is from an Onyx kit. So yeah, that's it for all the melody sounds. Fairly simple, not a lot going on, but really just kind of focusing more on the top line lead kind of aspect of the melody. But this is what everything's gonna sound like together. All right, so moving on to the drums. Like I said, all of these drum sounds are coming from my 2025 stash. The only sound that's not in there is this last 808, but we'll get to that. First up, we got the meter clap. Then we got this main snare. Then we got this duo open hat. And then we got this hi-hat. This is the 2K hi-hat. And really all I did was just make this one bar pattern and then repeat it throughout the entire thing. Then we got the 808s. I used 2 different 808s and implemented that same like call and response technique for these. I'll just play them individually and then I'll play them together, or I'll play all the drums together. So this is the first 808. We got the GOAT 808. And then the second 808 that I used is the Humor 808. And I believe this is originally from Based One's 2023 stash kit, but this is what the pattern sounds like. And like I said, I used that sort of call and response technique to play in between the other 808. So yeah, that's it for all of the drums and the melody. If we go over to the arrangement, you guys probably heard at the beginning in the preview that I used that sort of like ramping pitch automation that Ken Carson used to have in a lot of his older songs. If you guys are unfamiliar with how to do that, I will show you right now. All right, so I'm just in a different FLP real quick. And basically all you're gonna wanna do is when you have your melody kind of rendered out, you'll have your melody here and you'll have all your drums here. For this sake, everything's rendered together already, so it doesn't really matter. But essentially what you're gonna do is take the first 9 bars of your loop, include all of your drums, and then render it out as a separate clip. If you guys don't know how to do that quick render, just highlight your selected things, do Control-Alt-C, and then it'll bring up your render window, and then make sure it's just set on cut remainder, and then hit start. So once we have this file rendered out as its own little like separate audio clip, what we do is go up to your BPM, you right click, go to create automation clip. Next, you're gonna wanna zoom into this little point at the beginning of the tempo automation, right click, go copy value, and then paste that value at the end of your 8-bar clip. Now you can take the first point of the tempo automation and just drag that down. I like to go just about like halfway, around like 100 BPM is fine. So as you can see, after we lowered that BPM, that the audio file changed its length. We don't want that to happen. So what we're gonna do is double click that and move this time knob up until you reach the 8 bars and then leave it on resample. If you put it to stretch mode, it's not gonna follow the pitch automation. It's just gonna follow the BPM automation. So leaving it on resample allows it for that pitch automation as well as the BPM. I also like to drag this little middle point down a little bit, just so the ramp up is kind of like quicker at the end. So like this is what we have. So yeah, that's how you do that sort of like ramp automation effect. As far as like arranging and mixing goes, I don't really do too much. This was like the only kind of heavy arrangement trick that I did. But other than that, we just kind of cut out some drum sounds here and there. And yeah, mix wise, a lot of these drums that are in the stash, I handpicked because they're ones that I use all the time. So I like to use a lot of drum sounds that are just kind of hard hitting, crisp right off the gate. You don't have to do a lot of like EQing to them or whatnot. So yeah, definitely a good kit to check out if you just want drag and drop sounds, don't have to mess with them at all. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Again, shout out to Sunboy and Cray for that Hiraeth Serum Bank. Very good kit, definitely go check it out. As well as go check out the 2025 stash kit. I'll leave a link to both of those in the description. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, join my Discord as well. I am dropping another kit at the end of this month. It's a Serum Bank with my boy Noah. Super fire kit. Definitely very proud of it. We've been using it a ton and just kind of fine tuning a lot of stuff. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.